Okay. Hi, Joanne. This is your first yoga class. This one is going to be a little bit of a mix of relaxing at the beginning, just with some hip mobility, and then we're going to move into our tabletops, and we're going to move into a couple balancing standing postures, and then we'll finish with some more kind of stretching and more relaxing postures. So let's start on our backs. So you can lay down and bring your feet out a little bit wider, and we'll just move into our windshield wipers. So letting your knees drop down to one side, give yourself a little pause, let your knees drop down over to the opposite side, give yourself a little pause, and we're gonna do that just a few more times. So just moving back and forth, giving yourself a couple really full deep breaths, just feeling your hips move as they go into that internal and external rotation. Maybe one more each side. Last one. Good. And then let's just find our Joanne stretch. So you can reach your legs out long, reach your arms up overhead, and just kind of give yourself that big full body reach past the toes, past the fingers. Good. And then we're going to bring both the knees back up, feet on the ground. You can bring your arms back down. And we're going to start to move into lifting one leg at a time. So a little core engagement. So on that exhale, kind of draw your lower ribs towards your belly button towards your lower ribs, closing the space between your low back and the floor a little bit. Arms are just down to your sides, palms to the floor. Maybe roll your shoulders back and down a little. And then we'll press a little bit more into the right foot and lift up the left leg. You're just gonna hold that for a moment. And then we'll exhale, bring it down and tap and bring it back up. Good. Hold. We're gonna do that 2 more times, bringing your leg down, little heel tap, bring it back up. Good. 1 more time. Bring it back up. And then you can set that leg down. Give yourself just a breath, kind of soften your arms, your shoulders. Kind of let go of any tension or grasping you might have. And then we'll move into the second side. So on an exhale, bring that leg up. And then we'll bring it down to tap the heel, right back up. Hold. Bring it down, tap the heel. Last one, right back up. Hold it. Good. And then bring it back down. Good. Just give yourself a moment there. And then we're gonna bring up both your knees. So you could lift up one at a time. And hold that. If it's comfortable, if you can, I want you to try to reach both your arms towards your knees and just place them there. And then if you want, and if it's possible, kind of try to press your knees into the palms of your hands a little bit as you press your palms towards your knees. So that's just going to create a little more core engagement. It may work, it may not work. Just kind of take a couple of moments there. Good. And then we can bring the arms down and then bring your legs down. yourself a breath. Good, and then we're gonna find our way onto hands and knees. So however it works for you. When you get to hands and knees, just stack your shoulders up over your wrists. And we'll inhale, drop your belly, lift your gaze up. Exhale, round your spine up towards the ceiling. We'll do that 3 more times. Breath in and breath out. Inhale, let your shoulder blades move towards your spine. Exhale, they move away. Last one, breath in and breath out. Good. And then we'll come back to just a neutral spine. If you need a break on your arms, let's come down onto belly. Give yourself a pause there, putting your arms wherever it's comfortable and just letting yourself rest. Good, and then we'll come back up to hands and knees. Yep. And then taking that moment to try to close the space between just like your low back is gonna, almost like we did on the ground, right? It's like when you close the space, so it's rounding just a little bit to try to hollow out your belly just a little bit. Engaging. And then we're gonna extend the right leg back behind you. You can keep the foot down first. And then we'll try to lift that leg up. Take an extra breath there. Breathe. And then we'll bring it down. Good. Going into the second side right away if your arms are working like that today. Root the ball of your foot down. Lift your leg up. Hold. And then bring it back down. Good. You can lower all the way down onto your belly again. Settle there for a breath. And then we'll come right back up. Hands and knees. We're gonna do another round just like that. So extend the right leg out behind. I lied, we're gonna actually add something. So when you're ready, lift that leg up. You can bend the knee a little bit if that works for you. And we're gonna try to bring that knee out towards the side some. It does not have to move very much. Bring it back. And then set it down. Right into the second side. If your arms feel too fatigued and you're kind of like losing the shape on the second side, you can pause and take a break and then do the second side. We'll bring it back in and then lower it down. Good, and now lower all the way down onto your stomach. Give yourself that pause again. Good. Now we'll come back up to hands and knees. Last set like this. So on this one, you can keep the right knee bent, but we're gonna lift that leg up and try to find a couple of hip circles. So knee's gonna move out. It's gonna come back in, back up, and around, back in. One more time. and then set it down. Other side. Again, if you need to take an extra pause, if your arms and your shoulders aren't feeling so great, take a pause between sides. But we'll find 3 on this side. Last one. Good. And then we'll lower all the way down to the ground. Breathe. Good. Now before we come up to a standing position, we're gonna do a little bit more to activate your back. So you can bring your hands kind of wherever is comfortable, if it's comfortable to bring them to your sides. And this is the one where we're going to lift up the right leg, keeping the left leg down. Hold it. And then lower it down, switch sides, lift and hold. Lower it down, switch sides again, lift and hold. We're just doing 2 each side. I know it's a lot. Bring it down, last one. And then down and rest. Good. So now we're going to come up to standing. So make your way all the way up. Give yourself a moment to kind of adjust, being upright. If you want to close your eyes, make sure you don't feel kind of dizzy or lightheaded. Breathe. I feel lightheaded today. Good. Okay, so we're gonna just move into a couple of salutations. So just inhale, reach both your arms up overhead. And exhale, fold over your legs. Then you'll kind of dead weight into your arms and roll up to stand. Good, let's do that again. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold over your legs. Roll back up to stand. We'll do that 2 more times. Big breath in. Big breath out. Rolling back up. Last one. Inhale here. And exhale down. Roll back up to stand. Good. We're just gonna reach both arms up overhead. Hold it there. If it works to interlace your hands and press your palms up, you can do that. But you can also just keep your hands like this as well. Maybe try to turn your gaze a little bit up towards the ceiling. My air conditioning just kicked on, so it's blowing in my face. Feels kind of nice. Holding that. Good. And then we'll bring the arms down. Let's bring our feet out just a little bit wider. And we'll find that kind of like dead weight into the arms. And we're just gonna rotate around just like this, letting your arms flop. Your hands just kind of slap on your sides. Couple more times. Good. And then slowly just kind of come back to the center. And then we're gonna move into just a couple of warrior poses. So let's start with warrior one. And warrior one is gonna be stepping 1 foot forward. The other foot is gonna step back. It's at about a 45-degree angle back there. And we rotate the back hip to face more towards the front. The rest is just gonna happen in your upper body, and then bend into that front knee. Give yourself a pause there, and we can reach arms up if you'd like. We'll hold it. And in this position, right, if you feel unstable, you can think about pressing into the inside of that front foot a little bit more. Giving yourself a couple more deep breaths. Good, and then we'll bring our hands down and you can step together. Just kind of give yourself a pause. And then we'll move into the second side. So 1 foot forward, the other foot back at that 45-degree angle. Back hip rotates around towards the front. Rib cage and chest face forward. Bend into the front knee, stacking it over the ankle as much as possible, and then reaching your arms up. Holding that position. Finding some deep breaths. Maybe pressing into the inside of the front foot a little bit more than the outside. Good. Another moment. And then we'll bring our hands down and we can step feet together. Our next one, we're gonna go into crescent lunge. So we'll step 1 foot forward, the other foot's gonna step back. This back foot is up on the ball of the back foot. So heels lifted off the ground. Front knee is gonna bend and stack over the ankle. And you can try to bend a little bit into this back knee as well. Kind of rolling your pelvis under, pushing this back leg hip forward to get into the hip flexors more. And then we'll reach both arms up overhead. You're gonna have days where you feel more balanced. You're gonna have days where you feel off balance. Just kind of meet yourself where you're at. One more breath there. Good. And then we'll bring our hands down and bring our feet together. Give yourself a pause. And then we'll go into the second side. So foot forward, back foot back. Bend into the front knee on the ball of the back foot. Take a second to push your hips forward, open up that back leg hip flexor, and then reach your arms up overhead. Couple deep breaths there. Keeping it. And then we'll step our feet together. Just give yourself a pause, give yourself a breath. Good. And then we're gonna move into our warrior two. So if you wanna go ahead and face the camera, we'll step 1 foot forward, paste the video. The other foot's gonna step back. So the back foot is parallel with the back of the mat. The front foot toes are pointing forward. And then from there, you bend into the front knee. And then you bring your arms out wide. And we're thinking about this time, rib cage rotating this way, right? Arms are out. You can take a second to kind of turn your entire arm so the palms are up and the kind of like inside of your arms are up, but then just rotate the wrists so the wrists are down. And what that does is it just helps engage the shoulder blades in the back and then the wrists down. Take a breath there. You can choose to look forward. You could look over that front arm if you want. Finding an extra breath. And then we'll come up and out. Good. Last warrior, other side, warrior 2. So foot down, back foot's gonna move back. You'll bend into the front knee. Arms are gonna spread out wide. Give yourself a moment there. Turn the entire arms up. Just the palms back down. Feel that engagement in the back side of your body. Maybe peek over that front arm. Couple deep breaths. Good. And then we'll bring our feet together. Let's do one balance pose on each side, and then we'll find our way back down onto the floor. So let's do tree. Let's shift weight into the right foot. If you need to go next to a wall or a table, you can do that. But we'll shift weight. You can come up onto the ball of the left foot first, and then you can angle it so that the heel just kind of rests on your ankle, knees out, pressing into the floor with that right leg, trying to hug this hip in. And give yourself a pause there with the toes down on the foot with the knee bent and the entire foot down on the other side. So just kind of find that balance first. See how it feels. You might be having a day where this is where you stay. Or if you would like to, hold on to support or try not to hold on to support. Slide that leg up. Hold as long as possible. You might be coming down and trying again. I'm just gonna stay. It'll give you kind of time to try a couple times. Good. And then we'll bring it down. Oh, give it a pause. Shake out what you need to. And then we'll switch over to the other side. So leg down, just come up onto the toes of the opposite leg first. Kind of get your bearing there. And then turn the heel in, knees gonna move out. Pause there, press into the floor with this foot. Hug your hip in towards the center. Crown of head is lifting up. Few deep breaths there. Good. And then when you're ready, maybe sliding that leg up. Coming in, coming out as much as you need to. Couple more tries. And then we'll bring it down. Woo. Okay, so Let's come back down to the ground. We're gonna come to a seat first. So lowering down, and we're gonna try to just kind of bend one knee in, other leg's gonna extend out. Give yourself a moment there. Crown of head is lifting up. You might just stay more upright. You can find a little hinge forward if that's feeling good today. Just a couple more breaths there. Good. And then we'll come up. Ooh. Let's lean back for a second. Give yourself a pause. If you want to extend this leg out, you can. You don't have to keep them both that knee bent when you're leaning back. And then we'll switch over to this other leg, bending the knee, bringing it in. Head upright, little hinge forward at your hips. Couple more deep breaths there. Yeah. And then we'll come up. You can lean back again, bring both your feet out wide. Give yourself a pause. And then we'll do one where we're trying to come down right in the center. So keeping your legs wide, little hinge forward at your hips. Couple deep breaths there. Good. And then coming back up. Let's lay down onto your back again. When you get down, we're gonna finish where we started. So bringing your feet out a little bit wider, windshield wiper your knees side to side a few times. Good. And then you can either keep your knees bent if that's comfortable. You could stretch your legs out long, but just give yourself a couple of moments just to stay still and breathe. I'm going to stop the video here, but I want you just to try to take a little bit longer, just as long as you need. Find your belly breath, settle in, and let yourself be.